Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Learning Lab. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you enjoy today's session, and today's session is going to be on integrating your business solutions with Sage Intacct. So let me just get started with some introductions. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Fiona, I work in the customer success team, and running today's session is Tejo, who is our Sage Intacct developer. Just before I hand you over to Tejo, I am just going to take you through some of the usual housekeeping. So microphones will be muted throughout today's session. However, in your GoToWebinar panel, there is a box for questions. So if you do have any questions as we go through the Learning Lab, please pop those questions in that box and I will read those out at the end. There will also at the end be the opportunity to take yourself off mute and you can ask any questions that you have there. Finally, the session is being recorded, so once the session has been completed, we will email you a copy of the recording so that you're able to share this around your team, your business, with anyone who was unable to make today's session. That's all from me. I am going to now hand you over to Tejo to take you through the integrations.
Thank you very much, Fiona, and welcome everyone. On this session, we'll be discussing the agenda over here, which is why we integrate with Sage Intacct, the overview of the integration methods, the deep dive into the integration methods, which is CSV Import Export, Web Services and REST API, Platform Services, and then we'll also discuss choosing the right method for your business, and then we'll end off with the Q&A. All right, so why integration matters? There's benefits for your business to be doing integration. These benefits are efficiency. So the integration eliminates manual tasks like data re-entry and spreadsheet juggling. It reduces time spent switching between systems and automates repetitive work. Example of this would be auto-importing customer invoices into Intacct from a CRM system, syncing purchase orders from a procurement system without manual uploads. And then the other benefits would be accuracy. Manual processes lead to errors like typos, duplicates, or data mismatches. Integration ensures your data is consistent and reliable across all systems. Example of accuracy would be preventing mismatches between inventory data in ERP and point of sale systems, reducing double entry mistakes in financial records. Other benefits would be automation. Integration enables rule-based and event-driven automation, meaning action can happen without human involvement. Example of automation would be when a customer is added in your CRM, a corresponding record is auto-created in Intacct. Automatically generating journal entries from operational system triggers. Example would be time tracking or e-commerce platforms. And then overview of the integration methods that I will be showing. These methods are CSV Import Export. That is best used for one-time or scheduled bulk data transfer. The skills needed would be basics XML skills or templates like CSV. Example use case would be importing invoices, vendors, GL entries in batches. Another method is Web Services API. It's best used for real-time two-way system communication. The skills needed are intermediate to advanced. Example of the use case would be syncing CRM data, automating order to cash. And then the last method we'll be covering is platform services, which is a inbuilt Sage Intacct services. So the best use for platform services would be workflow automation inside Sage Intacct. The skills needed are intermediate to advanced. Example of a use case would be auto email or approvals, field updates via triggers. Each method serves a different purpose. Understanding when to use which one helps you reduce complexity and increase return on investment on your integration efforts. And then the one that we'll be discussing is CSV Import Export. What is it? CSV Import Exports, the key points to know is it supports manual upload or scheduled imports via recurring jobs. It requires use of Sage Intacct provided templates, which I'll then show you into the system where to locate these templates. Great for bulk data operations like invoices, vendor, and GL entries. And it's best suited for one-way or periodic data loading. And then there's pros and cons to import exports using a CSV. The pros are it's easy to use and there's no coding needed. The cons are no real-time updates and manual errors are possible due to data integrity. And then example that I'll show you now is importing customer. Okay, then I'll switch to my other screen just to show you on system. Right, so now I'm on the Sage Intacct platform. And what I'll do is I'll quickly go to company. And under company, you'll have a menu called setup. And then you'll have import data. If you go under the import data, you'll see there's import templates for majority of the functions, and they are grouped by the module. So the module that we're looking for customers is AR, or account receivables. So once you located your customer, you'll see there is create a customer, there's an import function, then there's a template, and then you can also view the customers. So what we want to do is we want to download the import template. So you simply click on template, and what will happen is it will download the template for you. So I'm just going to open the template. Right. Now you see the template, and the template has fields, and these fields are explained what do they do, whether they're required or not, and the data type or the data that you expected to enter on them. For example, if we go to the beginning, you can see that any row which starts with a hash will be ignored. So if you have a list of customers over here and you want to ignore some of them, you can simply put a hash over there and that customer will not be imported. Right, just like that. And then over here we have a customer ID. So the customer ID is like a unique number that will identify the customer. And if you read along, you'll see that it's required. So I would just say this customer starts at customer 1000 as an example. And then you give your customer a name and other fields as well. So the ones that are not required, you can simply just not enter anything, but the ones that are required are mandatory. I've actually prepared an import for myself for this session, so I will just run to that import that I've prepared and just do the import. Right, so once your import template is ready, you first need to save it as a CSV. So simply click File, Save, and then you choose a CSV over here, and then you save it, right? And then once it's saved as a CSV, you click Import, And then the import menu allows you to choose your file. So I'll choose my file over here. And then it just shows you the date format that it's expecting from your import. So if your date format was the other way around, you would choose the appropriate date format that you have formatted your date within the import template. The file encoding, it will auto detect. Otherwise, you can choose the import template file encoding. So just leave it at auto detect. And also your delimiter. Some CSVs use a semicolons, other use a comma. So mine is using a comma. And then once your import is finished, you can specify the email address in which the result will be sent to. So it will show you if the import template was successfully imported, and also how many customers we created, how many customers failed, and so forth. So what I'll do is I'll click import. And then because I imported one customer, it will tell me one customer is being imported or one record has been added. And you simply click done. And then you can go to customers function and just go view how many customers have been imported. So my customer, I named it main company, and I can see here it is over here, it is imported. Okay. So that's it with regards to the import. Again, I'll just show you where you get all the templates. You go to companies, you go to import data, and once you get there, you'll have all the import templates per module, per function. And the process of importing is the same. You simply download a template. The template will describe the fields that you need to enter, which ones are required, which ones are optional. You simply fill out your fields and you save as a CSV, and then you do the import, and you'll get the results of your import. All right, I'll return to the presentation. Right, so that was an example of a customer import. Now I'll move over to the web services API and also explain a bit what is it. All right, as you guys may or may not know, API is a new standard. Is a new standard that has emerged as a cornerstone of modern software development and integration. Embracing APIs allows organizations to leverage the power of third-party services, streamline workflows, and enhance customer experience through interconnected applications and data. Sage Intacct supports two types of APIs. It's XML-based or SOAP API, and also REST API. Why use API? These are the benefits of why you would need to use API. It has a interoperability, which enables seamless communication between separate systems and services. Agility facilitates rapid development and deployment of new functionality and services. Innovation empowers developers to build new applications and services by leveraging existing APIs. All right, so the XML API diagram in Sage Intacct will look like this. So I'm just going to leave this screen over here just for the users to see the flow. Right, then I'll move on. All right, web services has pros and cons as well. So the pros are it's 100% automated, and it's also real time. So the data goes into your system or out of your system in real time. It's highly flexible, and there's security with regards to using APIs to transfer your data. For example of the security is if you are doing import and export, your file may be or may go into the wrong hands, whereby the API, it's very secure. The data just flows into the other system seamlessly. The cons are it requires developer skills and also error handling is needed. So this would be intermediate to advanced skill set that the user needs to have to work with APIs. Okay. Then these are the examples that I will show regarding Sage Intacct APIs. I will be showing you how to generate the session ID or token, and then I will create a sales invoice. I'll show you how to read the sales invoice if you want to read any sales invoice out of the system. I will show you how to update sales invoice using an API and also deleting the sales invoice. So now I'll switch to my screen. Right, so now what you're seeing is Postman, where I'll be running my web services. This is a XML-based web service from Intacct, and it has a couple of sections that you need to be aware of. So the control section, this is where you would need to specify your sender ID and password. So the sender ID and password is the details that you get when you have a web service subscription on your Intacct system. Sage will send you an email containing this information. And then the operational section, this is where you can do the authentication. So on your Sage Intacct system, you would need to create a web service user. And then you can also specify the company in which the web service will be connecting to. So these are Sage Intacct instances. For example, you would have a production instance or production system, and then you'd have a sandbox system, and then you'd have a development system, as many customers do. This is where you can specify it. So the company ID is actually your instance ID of Sage Intacct. And then on the content side, this is where you specify the function of the API. So the function that I'm using over here is get API session. So this will generate a session token for me that I can use to authenticate you when I do other API calls. So my session is ready. All I simply do is I click send. And then if you look at the response, you'll see I have a session ID over here. Okay. So I'm just going to set this as a variable so that I can use it dynamically. And my session is connected to location 500 because I've specified that I want location 500 over there. Once you have your session ID, you can see other web service calls. You still have the same control section, which you need to specify your sender ID and password, but the authentication is now different. So instead of specifying the web service user credentials, I can specify the session ID because I already have the token. And then on the function, I now specify that I want to create an invoice. And then I also give it the details of the API of the invoice that I want to create. And I'll also share a link in which you can see all these functions because Sage has it outlined for us. So we don't need to necessarily know everything off by heart. We can simply reference a blog that Sage has created with all the information about all these fields. All right, so what I'll do now is I will just run my API. And then if we look at the results, the control is success, meaning my sender ID and password is success. The authentication is success, meaning it accepted my session token. And then the results of my function is a success. It can show me the function that I was running. I also have a control ID. So this control ID is used to track your functions, meaning that if you're running multiple functions and one failed, you can know exactly which one failed by using this ID, because all of them will get listed by the ID, and then you can pinpoint this function failed and I want to rerun it. You can also use the ID to rerun that specific function once you've done the corrections. And now the key is a unique ID of the invoice. So I'll be using this key now to go and read my invoice details. So there's a unique ID of the invoice. And if I step over to the read invoice, this is where on the function, I will use that key to now read the invoice or get the invoice information back. And also, just to be aware, the methods of the sections of the API are still the same. You still need to specify the sender ID and password. You still need to use the session ID as an authentication. And then the content, you need to specify which function you are now using. So I'll be doing a read on an object called AR invoice. I will give it my invoice key over there. And on the field, you can specify which fields you want to return or see. If you use a star, it means you want to return all the fields. So let's see the results. Right, so as you can see, it's returning all the fields for me of the invoice. And if you want to see only, let's say we want to see a customer name, we can simply put customer name over here, run. And then as you can see, it will only return a customer name. If you want more than one field, but you still want to specify only the fields that you want to use, I'll choose customer name again. And then you simply use a comma, and then I'll get, let me just see, maybe base currency. Get a base currency as well. And when I run, it will give me only customer name and base currency. So that's how you can perform a read. And this read has other multiple functions. You can do a filter, which I'll then show you under the documentation, how to use filter regarding this. And now you can also update your invoice. So what you need to do is on the function, you need to specify the invoice key or the unique number. And then what I'm updating is I'm updating invoice items or invoice lines. And then I'm also specifying on line 1, I'm updating the customer. So I do not want the customer that's currently there. I want to change the customer to the one that I want or that I've specified over here. And then what I'll do is I'll run the operation. And then what we can see over here is the result is success. And then it also gives us the function ID so that we may track it if we need to. Another function that's available is you can delete the invoice. I'll also specify the key, and then on the function, I'll say delete. And then when I run, it would have deleted the invoice out of the system. So these are the basic functions that you can do using the Sage Intacct XML-based API. You can create an object, or you can create customers, suppliers, vendors. You can also read the information out of the system, you can do an update, and you can do a delete. And also, this goes for the REST API as well. These are called CRUD operations or CRUD operations. I'll just go over here and just show you the API reference that I was referring to. So under the API reference, you will see all the references that you can use with your XML-based API. For example, if we go to account receivables, you would have seen I was performing operations under the invoice. And if I go under the invoice, on top here, it will show you some of the functions you can do using the API. For example, I've just shown you, you can do a query. So there's a query or a read. It also explains to you what all these fields are. There's also other query options that you can use. You can also limit the amount of items that you want to receive from the API. And the one I was using is I was using the read over here, but the read by query and the query works the same. There's simply a get APIs that gives you the information about the invoice that you're looking for. All right. And then another section with regards to the REST API is there's also REST API that was developed by Sage for Intacct. If we go in here, you'll see how you get started with the API. And what's really nice that Sage has built is if you were working with existing XML APIs, there's a mapping that you can use to map per function. For example, if I was working with the invoices and now I want to switch to the REST API, I would go to AR invoices. And then I would see how to list invoices and then how to create an invoice and other functionality. So the documentation is very extensive and it's available. And I believe it's very easy to read. So that's it with regards to my presentation on the API. So I'll switch now to, the presentation. All right, the last integration method is a platform services. And I'll quickly share with you what is platform services. So platform services has to do with customization within Sage Intacct. So Sage product customization allows business to tailor the Sage software to their unique operational needs directly within the application. This customization can include modifying existing workflow, adding custom fields, creating specific reports, and developing new modules. By adapting the Sage environment to better fit business processes, company can achieve high efficiency and more accurate data management. The benefits of product customization would be enhanced efficiency, tailored workflows and custom fields, streamlines operations and reduce manual processes, better data and access management. Data is protected by user rights, scalability, adaptable software that goes with your business, allowing for quick adjustment to meet new requirements. And then some of the key points, there are no external systems needed, so all is automation, and also it's happening within Intacct. So there's no external system with regards to customization of the software. It uses smart events, smart rules, triggers, and page scripts. So just to quickly explain what are those, smart events are events that it allows you to basically do automations. It allows you to send notifications when, for example, an invoice is created. And then it also allows you to do a webhook, meaning that you can use a smart event to connect to a webhook or send information to another application using its web service or API. Smart rules are validating rules. You can use smart rules to check, for example, if a customer has an email. If the customer doesn't have an email, you can allow a smart rule to do certain action to validate that the customer does not have email. You can validate numeric functions. For example, you can say quantities for a certain product mustn't be ordered below a certain amount. For example, with a certain product, you cannot order below quantity of 5. You can put that as a smart rule. Triggers, they serve multiple purposes. They can also do updates from function to function, meaning that if, for example, you've created an invoice for a customer, but you're also tracking how much a customer is spending, you can use a trigger to update their credit amount if you are tracking the credit amount that they're spending on your platform. You can also do, you can post APIs internally, meaning that the APIs that I've just shown you from Sage, you can also use them within the system to do other operations. You can also use triggers for validation as well. And then lastly, you can use page scripts. So page scripts are very powerful. They allow you to develop a bespoke module or function within Intacct. They use JavaScript and HTML. So these are known languages that are available, that are supported on Intacct through page scripts. And then the other points is it enables custom validations, field auto updates, and notifications. It's ideal for internal workflow control and data governance. And then here are the examples. Smart events, you can auto send an email when an invoice is created. Smart rules, prevent posting if a custom field is missing. Trigger, auto populate fields based on logic. Page script, create bespoke function using JavaScript, HTML. And then you can also create custom fields for any functions within Sage Intacct. All right, and now I'll discuss choosing the right methods for you based on your use case. All right, so on this scenario, bulk, one-time or scheduled uploads, you can use CSV import export. Real-time two-way system sync, the ideal use would be web service API. Internal workflow automation, you would use platform services. All right, best practices for integration. The key tips that I want to leave with you is you can start simple, begin with a small, low-risk integration before scaling to more complex uses. Validate your imports. Double-check your data before import. Use Intacct import preview or error logs to catch formatting issues early. Monitor smart events and scripts. Ensure triggers and scripts behave as expected, especially after configuring changes. Log errors and test frequently. All right, so that leaves us with Q&A regarding our session and also the integration methods that I've shared with you. Are there any questions from the viewers? All All right. Any questions from yourself, Fiona? No questions. All right. Then if there are no questions, that's fine. But feel free to leave your questions and then we will get to them. I see, Fiona, you have questions? No?
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry, I lost connection there for a moment.
Yes, I can hear you clearly now.
Super, sorry about that. I was just wondering what I could do to try and connect. Right, well, I'm back on. I don't know if you've already covered this here, but if anybody does have any questions now, please do pop a message in the question box and I'll happily read that question out for you. Or you should now also be able to take yourself off mute and you can ask away any questions. We will give that a moment. I'll just put myself on mute for a moment while we give it a minute for any questions to come through. Just bear with me. Okay, it doesn't look like there are any questions at the moment. However, if you do have any, do please feel free to contact me after today's session. I'll be happy to pass those on to Teho, or if it's something I can help with, I will also get back to you on any questions raised. So if we just pop to the last slide and we will just wrap up. You going to go through this, Teho, or do you want me to?
You can go through it, Fiona.
Thank you so much for just taking us through then. So Teo's taken us through the CSV import, the web services API there, which is great for real-time systems, and platform services, so great for in-app workflows, any automations and customizations. And then, yes, the best part is to get in touch with us and we can help you to choose the method based on your business needs and your technical skills and your workflow goals. So if you're unsure of which method to take, then please do get in touch with us and we can assist you with all of your integrations. And there's listed some links there to the resource centre, so we'll get those out to you as well. That's it for today's session. So if you do have any suggestions or questions, any feedback for today's session, then please do contact me. My email address is on screen now for you. We do hope you've enjoyed today's session. Our next Learning Lab is going to be on the 22nd of May, and we will be taking you through the highlights of Sage Intacct's latest release. That's release 2 of 2025. I hope you've enjoyed today's session, and thank you all again so much for joining us. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.